Hello everyone, Rob here with the Ark of Father Time. I'm gonna put my pen down. I'm gonna put my pen down. I gotta clean the board.
I should put this on the big sprayer. I gotta clean this. I hope you enjoyed the sin synthesis video. If it actually exists, I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet because I haven't moved. I was so excited. I want to do another video really quick because I had to look at my phone and see what I was wanting to talk about because I wasn't even wanting to talk about sin today. Why is it so linty? You know, these fiber cloths can be very linty. You know, I've been cleaning my bathroom mirror with it and it is a nightmare. Because today I want to talk about something super interesting. Sorry, Yeti. I haven't named the Yeti. If anybody knows Jesus, he's always in here. He's always going to sit here. I'll get him away from the Yeti. Yeti's got bad breath. He's a good guy. Got bad breath, you know. He doesn't brush his teeth. He likes to yell a lot. Let's see here. Okay.
Today we have a really fun episode because it's going to be short because I can't believe I'm even talking about this. I don't have a death wish. Period. Just want everybody to know. Listen, I'm all about God's love, grace, and mercy. But, you know, there's interesting subjects that people want to talk about. And the Matrix tends to be one of them. And I don't get like to, you know, Liz, I drop a lot of gems. But I keep a lot of stuff to myself. I do keep certain things quiet. Now, will I answer any question? Yeah, in the best way that I can. So if you have a question about reality, the way the world works, anything interesting about the world, I love to talk about those things. But there are also a lot of things that I got to keep to myself. And this isn't necessarily one of them. We'll see how it goes. There's very likely a possibility that this will never even see the light of day. We'll see. But we should talk about the Matrix. What is the Matrix? What is the Matrix? You know, it's a biblical term. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. And when we talk about the Matrix, it's the womb of our mother. I don't even know how I'm going to draw this up. I certainly ain't going to draw my mother's womb if that's what you're waiting for. Not going to happen. But I think we have an idea of what wombs are like. And Matrix. It's always in the word anyway. So they make it pretty simple just to, you know, to knock this out really quick. Let's see here. Look at that. Matrix is mom's tricks. Tricks are for kids. We shouldn't live in fear if you believe in God. If you believe that Christ is here to bring you everlasting life, you shouldn't even believe in death. That's dumb. But if you woke up today, then you absolutely 100% have a purpose. So, Ma is mother. And we can go into all the other Ma's in the world in order for us to believe that Ma is mother. Madia. And so many other Ma's that I'm just not going to get into. You can figure that out. M.A. And then you got tricks. And tricks, of course, are for kids. It's the entertaining aspect of the reality that there ain't nothing going to hurt you here. It seems like it will, you know, you'll break things. I just broke my toe, we know that. So it can be painful. But also, you know, it's like jalapenos. Oh, I love jalapenos. I get emotional just like looking at jalapenos or smell. I just love jalapenos. I love spicy things. My wife once got a jalapeno in her Indian cuisine, and she cried for like 2 hours. That's a shame. I've slowly been trying to get her. That was many, many years ago. I'm slowly trying to get her adjusted to some spice, and she can take a little spice now, which is good. So I'm not always the only one that's enjoying the spicy salsa or whatever. But it's like life. Life can be very painful to one person and they're just crying for years. And life can be very painful for someone and they immediately want to write a book, want to write a story. Yeah? So it's easy to see that it is about perception. And your DNA or your history or your movie from before is what allows you to either write the book or to sit in a fetal position in the shower and just cry all day. I've been in both situations. I can understand. I used to just want to talk about how horrible my childhood was. And now I think I had a tough childhood. I mean, on paper, it is just a nightmare situation in so many different experiences. I experienced near death before I had my NDE or near death experience. I almost died or was afraid for my mortality from the age of 2 all the way up until I was able to leave the house at a very young age. So I understand what hell is and trauma is and all these things, but now I understand what the gift of young parents is and the difficult life and how many cool stories that we can tell from those experiences. So we got the best of both worlds. And it's tough to live in depression. I mean, I was probably up until I had my near-death experience. And even after that, I long for God again. We all do. Anybody who's had the NDE just can't wait for the other side. But we also know that everyone that wakes up here wakes up with purpose. It's not up to us to check out on our own. God will come and get you when it's time. It is time to create that synthesis, that completion, that desire to give some of our life back in gratitude. The Matrix. How do I explain it? Is that a spider? I got these little spiders. It's probably watching. The Matrix. So when our parents get together, as they do, and I think you know what that means, science has shown that a star is born. They just say that there's a flash of light at the moment of conception. I keep my hands apart. I'm just gonna I'm gonna handcuff myself. At the moment of conception, a star is born or a light flashes. It's a photo. A photo of what? Of your parents. And those parents have a DNA. That DNA is a bunch of photos that run concurrently from the beginning of all time. And the more recent the photos, the more connected we are to those experiences. So when that flash happens, science will say, "Ooh, that's cool." They might even have a understanding of some sorts about what that is, but it's just the universe being born. The universe. Universe. Your song. Your particular song of the photographs that exist of your parents before you existed. And then they come together and then they create a synthesis, and you are that synthesis. So when that star is born, when that light flashes, the entire universe exists around that child, you. And what I would say, confuse about reality is when that child decides to finally, get out, we believe that child is outside and that they're looking at us outside of them. But that's not what's happening. Gravity is a reality. There has never been an outside. It's the understanding that when we exit, let's say, the womb of the matrix, we never exit the womb of the matrix. We fall for the physical reality. And as we fall for the physical reality, the more physical that we put in between us and God. And it can be a really bad thing because we really don't like our life and the movies that we seem to be seeing, the reality that seems to be put in front of us. Or we love it because it's so full of material and material experiences and material stuff and blah 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 blah. But we know that it's not just about material. There are rich people regretting their life all the time, every day. It's our religion or our relationship with God that allows the material to end with purpose, to actually have a reason for it. There's a reason if we get material, and likely it's to make the world a better place in the best way that we possibly can. Making a lot of money allows you to give away a lot of money. We get caught in the tricks. Now, Kingdom of Heaven is a child, and tricks are for kids. It's the intention behind the tricks. So, tricks can be nefarious, and tricks can be enjoying the material of this world. Or, just because someone might be nefarious about this world doesn't mean that others can't be pure of heart and to experience a lot of the same things. We enter the Kingdom of Heaven as a child when we see our life as a gift that we can create a malleable creation, something that affects other people and makes their life better. It can be the sham wow, or it could be a wonderful song or a wonderful book or story or a recipe or whatever it is from the tricks of this reality, from the reality that this is not actually a physical place. So it's not good or bad. It's never going to be good or bad. It's always going to be, well, what angle are you looking at it from? It's like synthesis. We talked about it just a second ago, but the thesis. It's to understand the thesis is to understand the lawyer. The lawyer is a good lawyer should be able to argue perfectly for both sides of a situation. Of course, debate embraces this, but I think a lot of people get lost in their one side. If this is what love, grace, and mercy is to know that no matter how deep you are into understanding whatever side it is that you're on, the other person might not have anywhere near as good understanding of even their side. They might not. You should be able to, at any point that you're arguing with someone, you should have the ability to argue for them. That's fun, especially in a relationship. In my marriage, holy cow, me and my wife can get into some sort of disagreement. I'm always going to understand her side. Does she always understand mine? Well, I can only be as patient and the best, at presenting my argument as I possibly can. And when you do that with love and grace and peace and mercy and all this other stuff, she's always going to see my side. And I'm always going to see her side. And in the end, we're always going to not go to bed mad, because that's crazy. We chose each other, so we decide to make peace. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. The matrix of our mother is the reality that we never really leave our mother. We've never really left and gone outside, ever. This is all a reflection. You have Christ in the beginning, the light of the world, and you have Christ at the end, this synthesis, the completion, it's finished. So we want to, in essence, feel complete. And I understand it's not about works. It isn't about works. No matter how horrible we think certain people might be, no matter how obvious their deceptions are, or the fact that they might be spewing lies and this and that, think about the government or think about Hollywood or think about music, whatever it is, there could be lies and there can be spewing and these horrible things said, but we don't know what happens at the moment of their return. even the worst people in the world have a moment with God, and they could be invited at the very last second. They can accept Christ in the very last moment. Every single person that we have ever experienced in this world always has that ability to accept Christ at any time. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't change the world. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't expose the darkness. But it does mean that we shouldn't judge it. If we want to change things, we change things, but judging it and not changing it, what's the point? When you tell people that God is real, that can cause a lot of fear in them because they know how they think. It's hard for me, even in watching, politics, which we need to talk about, to not be upset about how the world goes. But I also know what politics are. So I don't have any fear. I just go, should I bring this up? Should I talk about it? Should we say anything? And through prayer, God guides my steps and says whether we should talk about that or not. And it's been no for a while. But just for a while. I'm someone who wants to share the truth, but the truth from my perspective. I'm not here to shove the truth down your throat. It's not necessary. God comes in time. And I do want to talk about what I think is a good way of living your life in order to have that born from above experience. But I don't know everything. And I don't pretend to know everything. What I want people to do is realize that there is something greater out there. Believe it or not, scientists do have a lot of faith if you follow those particular sciences. This is why I can't monetize my channel. If you ever want to donate, that would be great. But maybe with my Jesus-centric channel, because I do want to create a Jesus-centric channel and more of a ministry to where I'm just focused on that and not so much on the trippy stuff. I love the trippy stuff. You can get into quantum physics enough to go, okay, I know that. It's all vibration and light and all this other stuff. Yeah. So I'm not giving away anything, whatever, but I have certain ways of being able to see the world that go, oh, and it kind of wakes you up in a weird way. And I'm not trying to wake anybody up in a weird way. I want people to be guided by God, to ask Christ to guide your steps every single day. For me, it's not that easy to do it on my own. Like I say, I have a channel that I watch. It's a daily Jesus devotional. It's a wonderful channel that consistently puts out videos every day. So the first thing I do every morning when I wake up is I give all glory to God. Thank you for allowing me to wake up in this beautiful world. I'm sorry I get so giggly whenever I talk about Christ and talk. It's just an emotional thing for me. It's to know that I can feel that connection instantly. And then I listen to my daily Jesus devotional. I don't like to drop channels on here, but that is the one that I listen to every morning. And it's usually about half an hour long. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. And I allow that to start my day. And then I like to, listen to a lot of, God-centric music, and I'm always in prayer. I never cease praying. I'm always aware that you're literally just in a conversation with God at all times, and that's important to know, especially if you're looking for that spark of being born again, being born from above. Before I had my NDE, I was positive everything is God. And that was through science that I had come up with that conclusion. But it lacks the intention. Everything is God is kind of a mess and chaos when you just look at it without the gift of life itself, the intention of life, the creation of life, the reason why God created life. And so it took even a while after my experience to even find God. I knew God. I knew, God said, I'm God. Or, if you see my, videos, God was there. And that still doesn't get you necessarily to the Bible. That doesn't necessarily get you to having complete compassion, empathy for everyone. I did when I had my experience. I definitely was given a something within me that said to love everyone. And Christ is like that. Christ says, love our enemies, right? Because what we understand when we have this experience is that the only thing that destroys the evil in the world is love. As much as we want God's wrath to fall on somebody's head every once in a while, that's never the solution. It's really hard not to go off onto a tangent when we're talking about the Matrix, because that's the tricks of reality. And in essence, I've talked about it a million times, but I don't really talk about it. I don't talk about, the inception, the light of inception. It's like a photo, the shutter on the camera flashes really fast, and the faster it is, the more realistic it appears. That's not motion. That's a bunch of photos. Your parents created a photo of themselves together, and that is you. And then we can get caught into the material, which is where everybody is caught in material. And then as you turn back and you face God, the straight line without variation or shadow of turning, you're in the state of completion, of full synthesis. So then everything you get into, you want to put your full self into it. With gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness to God that you're able to entertain any particular thing at any particular time. So I'm rambling a bit, but it's a fun subject. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask, whether you DM me or whether you put a comment in the comment section. God bless you. Just know that, don't fall for the tricks. Become someone that creates from within out of the gratitude for God. And once you can grasp that and practice that, and always see God, always see Christ in the world around you, and say, this is all God. This is Christ, the light of the world. When you can do that and practice that, you can just rest in peace when God comes to take you, because you've completed this world. And that's the most important thing, is just to love God and to do your best to create and complete. This is just the nature of our soul and how we feel. And we feel so much better when we know that our kids know that we love them. When we say the thing instead of assume the thing. When we make contact with our loved ones in a way that lets them know how much we care about them. When we choose to see both sides of the argument instead of just insisting on our own side. There's always two sides. And being patient and loving in those situations will allow other people to hear you just a little bit better. Not everybody has ears. Not as big as these, that's for sure. But not everybody's ready to hear. They still got to sift through a lot of their past and their history in order to find themselves, to not be alone. There's nothing that anybody went through that other people haven't gone through. Yes, our life is unique, but that's the photo between you and your parents. That's the DNA. But that photo still leads back to the beginning of time, where God sits and waits for you to return. Oh man. God is good. Always. I think we're done. I love you. Christ loves you. God loves you. My name's Rob, and this is the Ark of Father Time. Thank you, and God bless you.